when I went back to the recordings and listened to Rob, he would often talk about himself as a performing monkey. So when portraying him as a monkey and being unapologetic about it and not explaining it, all of a sudden you've got this character that you engage with in a completely different way.
I'm Robbie Williams. I'm one of the biggest pop stars in the world.
For the next 2 hours, your ass is mine!
I don't wanna rock.
I understand that a few years ago you reached out to Robbie for help with Hugh Jackman and the Greatest Showman, and from there a great friendship blossomed. So I want to ask you, how did that relationship evolve to the point of making this film?
When we were talking, Rob would just tell stories about his life, and they were amazing, but what I actually really enjoyed was the way he told them. So I asked him if I could record our conversations, and so that's what we just started doing. We started just recording the conversations, and over a period of time I thought these stories actually would make an amazing film. And so that's kind of basically how the film came about, was through us talking.
That's beautiful. And Robbie, I mean, the movie is based on your life, but I feel Better Man preoccupations are universal. Like the need to be loved, to feel safe, to not be taken advantage. And of course, dealing with mental health, addiction, the struggling of expectations and validation, using humor and honest vulnerability. So how did you balance telling such a personal story while ensuring it will resonate with audience on a broader and universal level?
Well, in your question, you just gave all of the answer to what I normally say in this moment. It's a universal story. Everybody wants to be seen and heard and recognized. And just like Morrissey once sang, I am human and I need to be loved just like everybody else does. And fortunately for Michael, I am on the spectrum and I don't know what I should and shouldn't say. And I don't know what I should and shouldn't divulge or share. And so I overshare. And so far with what people are saying about the movie, people are responding to that very, very positively. And it's all a mistake of genetics.
and it's easy to get emotionally attached to this monkey. So Michael, when did you realize you want to film this movie in such a unique way?
I just wanted to come at it in a more creative way. I mean, there's been a lot of musical biopics, and I just thought there must be a way to lens this story in a more unique approach, and something that ultimately would lead to a more powerful story. And when I went back to the recordings and listened to Rob, he would often talk about himself as a performing monkey. So when portraying him as a monkey and being unapologetic about it and not explaining it, all of a sudden you've got this character that you engage with in a completely different way. But I think it's in a way that is much more truthful to who Robbie is. It sets him apart from everybody else. It does the thing that happens once you get famous, which is when that person walks in the room, it doesn't matter if they're talking or not, you just stare at the monkey. And so for a number of reasons, and also there's a human empathy that you have for animals that is different to watching a human suffer. There is something deeply upsetting about watching that monkey go through the trauma that he goes through. So I think it became really clear to me that it was going to make the film so much more powerful if we were able to pull it off. And pulling it off was an enormous task, but I think it is one that has paid off.
When it comes to the way your family is portrayed, I was watching the movie and I was very moved, especially your difficult relationship with your father. How protective were you over that in order not to overshare or to hurt certain feelings of the people that surround you?
Yeah, I haven't been really. My relationship with my dad is not difficult anymore, and wasn't when I was growing up, and it only became to be difficult when I developed an addiction and an alcohol problem, and then was forced to address the root of these issues. And when you're forced to address the root of these issues, you notice the unusual aspects of people's behavior. And I am a people too with unusual behavior, and I will not be able to facilitate every need of my children. And it's just unfortunate for my dad that out popped an incredibly sensitive human being that responds to feelings in a way that he didn't and doesn't respond to feelings. It's difficult. It's difficult, and another part of the surrealness of my life and the job and what is needed to prolong this delicate career.